Federal immigration law gives the agency the authority to search and patrol private property within 25 miles of the border without obtaining a warrant.
So now you don't even get warrant protection. You don't get your Sixth or Fourth Amendment rights now because you happen to live within 25 miles of a border. We have that in New York State too, by the way. Right? Not only there's a border in North too. For some of you who don't know that, there's a border upstate up North too, border on Canada. And you live within 25 miles Canadian border, same thing. They just come into your house. Yes, they can literally kick in your door anytime they want without a warrant. If you live within 25 miles of the border, you can't go, come back with a warrant. They go, no, open up your door now or we shoot you. That's how that works. That's how that works now. So you lose your rights again. Well, Larry, how are we going to, search the area for illegal immigrants if we don't, do this? I have an idea. Have a better system so illegal immigrants don't go into people's houses. And if some illegal immigrants in there and the people want you to come in there and get them because they're under hostage or whatever, they're going to tell you, come in. They're in that room. Go get them. In which case you need a warrant because they're asking you to come into their home. This doesn't make any sense. This is just deciding within 25 miles of a border, now we can do whatever we want. And this is under the war on terror because I guess Al-Qaeda people might slide across the border and live in her house or something. I don't know. It's just another law made out of fear that takes away our rights and is unnecessary, not required, takes away our rights, and we accept it. We accept that when you live 25 miles from the border or less, you don't get your Fourth or Sixth Amendment rights. You don't get property rights. They just take it.
24 hours a day, we are occupied by Border Patrol, both physically and virtually. They drag tires, they have drones and helicopters, they have agents on foot, on bicycle, on dirt bike, on horse, on four-wheeler, an SUV, on boat, on our shores, every kind of presence you can imagine. Then they have planted motion-activated sensors on our property. They have installed 24.
Now, see, this is the issue. See, and this is what it bothers me right there. This goes to what Chris was talking about earlier. Do you think if they came to her and said, hey, we need some help. Can we do some of this stuff and we'll compensate you? You know how many people would happily, eagerly do that? Happily. Imagine if you got, Dave, you got a property on the border and they come to you and say, look, we want to put some motion sensors on your property. It's going to be facing the Mexican border or Canadian border, whatever. We'll throw you a rental fee, whatever the fee, I don't know, whatever you would take, $500 a month, whatever. You'd be like, wow, $500 a month to keep it on there? All right, yeah, do it. You voluntarily do it. And even if you wouldn't, a lot of people would. And if you camouflage it well enough, then the people crossing the border won't know which houses have it and which houses don't, which means it still works because they won't cross that border there because they'll know there are motion sensors there. So they won't go. That's the idea of, I don't know if you know this, in many stores, if you go to a store, they'll have one of those domes in the ceiling that looks like it's a camera dome, and there's no camera there, but you can't tell because it's dark. They put the dome there to stop people from stealing. And it works. Statistically, they've done studies on this. It actually is it's deterrent of having a dome there without cameras is just as much deterrent if you do have a camera. But obviously, if you have a camera and someone steals something, you can catch them. If not, you can't. But the deterrent's the same. So you wouldn't even have to have everybody put those on. A couple, let the people across the border know we got it, catch a couple of people, and they wouldn't even know. And if people making a little bit of cash on the side, they would do it. But Larry, you going to spend extra money? No. Now I don't have to have as many border personnel because I've got people volunteering to throw these motion sensors on their land. One border control officer's got to cost at least $50,000 a year, maybe 100 or 200 for training and everything else. They do equipment. Take that 100 grand, cut it in half, do 50 grand, and give out 50 grand to the people on the borders in that area that person will patrol. Right? Whatever area that person will patrol. Take half of his or her salary, put it into motion sensing sensors on that border to pay the people to have it there. Boom, you saved half your money, less people, everybody's happy. And if you don't want it, don't take it. Don't take the money. You don't want the money, don't take it. Easy day. This can be solved. It takes thought. It takes a way of going through this, but it takes one important thing, not falling back to the easy way of violence. The problem is violence is easy and it's a short-term solution. Need the land? Take it. Why come up with a plan to get people to voluntarily help you when I can just take their land? So I just take it.
Our video surveillance on our property.
Partly the Border Patrol is about maybe 3 or 4 times what it was even 5 years ago. So this border is pretty much militarized.
The government, however, does not have the authority at this point to enter and alter private property in preparation for the border wall. But
No.
Trevino Wright says she encountered a group of government
Oh,
contractors
it's already
on the
happening.
Butterfly Center's property
Already
clearing
happening.
foliage that had been planted to host butterflies.
And I was like, what are you guys doing here?
Yep.
And they're like, well, we're clearing this land. I said, my land.
They didn't like that.
And the young guy with the orange vest and the safety goggles and everything goes, I think I should call my supervisor. And I said,
You should
I
do that.
think you should do that too.
That's a good plan.
A few days
Good plan.
later, Manuel Padilla, the chief border patrol agent for the Rio Grande Valley, paid the Butterfly Center a visit.
Mhm.
He showed up unannounced with no appointment in plain clothes. And
Because he doesn't have to. You're within 25 miles of the border. He doesn't have to have an appointment nor a warrant. He shows up on your property because your property isn't actually your property.
his
You thought it was.
attaché and a uniformed agent.
Padilla presented plans for the border wall to Trevino Wright, and according to her account, he said the contractors would be back, this time accompanied by a green uniformed presence.
And
Yeah.
so I asked him about that later. Do I understand you correctly that you are sending armed federal agents onto
Yes.
private property to
Yes.
protect your contractors?
NABA
Look at that.
decided
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
to take legal action, suing the Department of Homeland Security and Customs and Border Protection.
Part of our lawsuit is that patrol, the definition of what is patrolling. And do they really have the ability to occupy our land? Our land, according to Border Patrol, is theirs to do with as they please.
Yes. Absolutely.
After the lawsuit was filed, Border Patrol sent a form letter to every property owner in the area, asking them for 18 months of irrevocable access so the agency can survey the land to prepare for construction.
18 months of irrevocable access. I'm going to come out on your land, do whatever I want for 18 months.
Many owners, including NABA and the Cavazos family, refused to sign.
And
No shit.
I just got word this week that the government has moved to dismiss our lawsuit.
Of course.
These issues will be sorted out in court, but regardless of the outcome, for the property owners of the Rio Grande
So let me move on from this piece. Just so you're clear. He lost his land. And as I said earlier, in a follow-up, Reason Magazine did a follow-up with this. And in the follow, they talk about, what they did, why they voted for Trump, they voted for Biden. They thought Biden was going to save them, blah, blah, blah. And no, did nothing. They lost it, all gone. The court rejected them. Of course they did. Government wins because big government always beats the little guy. They just do. I mean, there's a couple times when they don't, but it happens so often. It's absolutely crazy. Lepke B says, it happened to my family. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. My family owned land in Coney Island, and it was condemned and taken by the government to build the Coney Island houses housing project. Well, there we go. They just condemned, so we're taking it. So that is a thing that is used in many cities, right? And some of you may not know this. There's a thing in New York City, if I can get it right. It's called landmarking. You can voluntarily landmark your property, right? You decide, hey, I think my property is a special landmark because, somebody famous came here or something famous happened here or something culturally significant happened here. I would like to landmark my property. And landmarking means that once the local the municipality or state decides it's landmarked, then special rules apply anytime that people want to do any type of construction or change to your property. Now, I'm not against you deciding that you want to landmark your property to save it from people in the future, whatever. Because if you landmark your property and then you sell it to somebody else, the property's still landmarked. So the person who buys it has to know this is landmark property. Do you want to buy it or not? But if you buy landmark property, you cannot make changes to that property unless the community agrees, rules and regulations, things of that sort. Sometimes in New York, they'll do that because they want to keep the flavor of the neighborhood. It means there can't be new construction, things like that. Some people want it done. And if you want to, it's your land, go ahead. That isn't my problem. My problem is the community can landmark your property for you, whether you want to or not. Yes. So you bought some property in Manhattan. You're like, good, I've invested. I got tons of money in this thing. And your community goes, I think that guy, Brandon, is about to build something there. And I don't like what he's going to build. So I'm going to go to my local community and we're going to decide locally that we should landmark his property. And if the city agrees, Brandon's property gets landmarked. He didn't want to landmark it. It's landmarked now. So now Brandon has to decide, well, I want to make some changes. I want to, change it so that I can have a tenant, or I want to change it so it'll look better for people so I can raise rents, or whatever is the thing Brandon wants. And they go, no, but I can't. No, you can't. Sorry, we landmarked and you can't do it. But I can't make the money that I want. Oh, well, but I'm still liable for all the taxes. Yes, you are. And I'm liable for any problem that occurs because I didn't upgrade the property. Yes, you are. But you won't let me upgrade the property so it can be safer. That's correct. That's actually how it works.